Dressing more sensual isn't all about wearing a shorter skirt or showing more skin. Looking and feeling more alluring is a mindset that comes from filling your life with luxury and pleasurable things. Most of us can't dress up in a tight-fitting dress and heels every day, as much as I would love to be Gloria from Modern Family. For those who have the fire style route, luxury, sensuality, womanliness is non-optional in their personal style. So this is my advice for those of you who prioritize sensuality in your personal style, but also want to dress in a way which is casual and works for your everyday life. My name is Ellie-Jean. I help women dress for their unique type of beauty, and I explore costumes from your favourite TV shows, films, and celebrities. The first piece of advice I would give is to wear sunglasses whenever you can, no matter the season, whether it's spring, summer, autumn, winter. Especially sunglasses which feel glamorous. So these can be cat eyes, large frames, something with a bit of gold. Pick something which works for you and your essences. But a glamorous pair of sunnies is practical, it helps with the sun, and it doesn't feel particularly strange to be wearing a pair of sunglasses if you're running an errand. So definitely throw them on with anything and everything. Second is glamorous jewellery. When we say glamorous, what that means often is jewels, things that are large in size for your proportions. You can put on a large pair of earrings with any outfit and feel more glam. You don't need to save them just for your most special occasions. You can wear them with leggings. I do constantly. Fire isn't even one of my routes. I just happen to suit a quite glamorous earring. But you have to cater this to your proportions. Again, if you don't have features like Sofia Vergara, wearing really large hoops, extra bold, large dangly earrings in your everyday life is going to feel strange. It's going to overwhelm your features. So you have to wear large things for your proportions. So not the largest that exist, but things that are maybe slightly bigger than what you would wear as your average size, and go from there. Animal print accessories. When I think fire, I think animal print. There is something so dangerous and exciting about an animal print. It reminds us of cheetahs, of what other animal prints are there? There's cheetahs, leopards, I suppose zebras aren't that dangerous. But there's more dangerous animals, instantly gives us a thrill. It's something, I suppose, that's in our brain somewhere. And again, when I think fire, I think of the slinky leopard print dress. But in everyday life, this isn't always doable. So you could bring in an animal print in a more subtle way, such as in a shopper bag, a shopper handbag, a tote bag, a pair of trainers, in your sunglasses, in a pair of ballet flats. Could be something not even an accessory, but something like a t-shirt, just to bring that little touch of sensuality into your everyday look. Old Hollywood inspired items. Now, typically when we think old Hollywood, we think fancy. We think, again, those slinky tight dresses. But there's actually lots of casual wear in old Hollywood, which you can bring into your own personal life. Okay, these tips might not work for sitting around at home, but if you're going to do your shopping, going into town for a coffee, whatever it is, I think a lot of these items and a lot of these outfit inspirations can still really work for you. So it could be a silk headscarf or a silk neck scarf, a pair of cigarette pants rather than a pair of leggings, again, your cat eye sunglasses, pearl earrings or a pearl necklace, something which feels a little bit glamorous. It could be something like a floppy hat, and I'm going to come on to hats in a second, something like that. Old Hollywood is definitely an amazing place for inspiration for fire, especially with those casual outfits, shockingly. Which brings me on to, very nicely, to large hats. When you go out, a floppy hat will always feel glamorous, and I think I'm going to bring floppy hats back in 2026. They were huge in 2016, and this is one of those ways I'm bringing 2016 into the new year. So in summer, you might go for something simple like a straw hat. Again, doesn't feel that out of the box, can feel practical, doesn't feel that strange with your shorts on and a top, but feels a little bit more you. And in the winter, you can go for something that's more like a fabric type hat, which feels a little bit more out there because they are a little less trendy right now. You just have to find one that works for you and your colour season, and it won't feel bizarre. Next is maybe the most important one: pajamas or leisure silhouettes in luxurious fabrics. These are so important for hanging around at home. I think so many of us fall into the trap of wearing a big baggy old t-shirt that doesn't make us feel good, but we don't really want to throw out, so we just throw that on all the time, and then we don't see our figure. It makes us feel ratty, it's old. Swap that out and really invest in your at-home wear. So it could be a pair of silk pajamas, it could be a cashmere loungewear set, could even be a velvet pair of pajamas. Or I also think for those with fire, invest in your dressing gowns and kimonos. Anything like a silk robe feels so luxurious to wear around the house, especially in spring and summer. Obviously in winter, you might want to keep wearing your big fluffy dressing gowns just for the practicality of it. But in spring and summer, swap that out for something silk and sensual, and this will make you feel a million times better swanning about your house. Sparkle and glitter. Sparkling glitter can be one of those things we feel we have to save for special occasions, but I say wear sparkling glitter constantly, especially in things like your makeup, a little bit of glitter highlighter, a little bit of glitter eyeshadow, wearing a sparkly earring, or even something like a sparkly cardigan or a sparkly top, a sparkly jumper. These can make you feel a little bit more glamorous, a little bit more alive, because they've got that little bit of something to reflect on your face, and they don't feel that out of the norm, but it's a little bit of fire in a very simple way. A little bit deeper makeup than your average makeup, whether it's something like adding eyeliner to your waterline or wearing a more red shade of lipstick or a more purple shade of lipstick, depending on your season. Going just a little bit deeper in your colouring for your everyday makeup doesn't mean you have to wear loads of foundation and blusher and contour if that's not what you do every day. Just, darkening your lipstick a little bit. Something like Clinique's Black Honey is really good because it still feels very everyday, but just has that little touch of sensuality. You can do so much with colour. Jewel and tropical tones, my general recommendations for the fire style route. Now, obviously you want to adjust this to your colour season, but the deeper or brighter shades within your season of the following colours can really add a bit of fire to your everyday wardrobe. So green, orange, purple, red, blue and pink. The deeper and brighter shades within your season will have that little touch of fire to them. And this can be, again, your pajamas, your t-shirts, your cardigans, your jumpers, your little camisoles, your sweatpants. Just swapping them out for some of these shades rather than wearing grey, which feels naturally very athleisure. I mean, I love in my wardrobe because I have more of a flower style route, so I can often make grey feel more kind of ethereal and whimsical. But for fire, I think grey, you almost always falls flat. So opting for some of those more lush colours, burgundy, maroon, plum, whatever you can make work. Have a real look at your colour season palette on Google, or have a look at our colour guides for each colour season. I'll leave the link below and see what you can find. Within my colour guides, I actually have palettes for every single style route, so you can get an idea of how those colours adjust for your style routes. This might be obvious, but form-fitting silhouettes. This could be something like a wrap cardigan, which draws attention to your waist. When I say a wrap cardigan, I mean kind of more like the ballet style wrap cardigans. These are really hard to find right now, I admit, but they are out there, especially on Vinted. Wrap cardigans, wrap tops, form-fitting leggings, especially yoga pant style rather than fitted at the cuffs, I often feel a little bit more glamorous and a little less sporty. It could be a bust enhancing sports bra. It can be as simple as that. But there are ways to enhance your silhouette with your most casual clothing. And again, on this note, just a little bit of skin. So it could be wearing an off-shoulder jumper, which is off on one side or shows both shoulders even. Something which has a v-neck which shows a little bit of cleavage. It doesn't have to be a short skirt and a really tight top. Just a little bit of chest, a little bit of shoulder can be enough to make you feel a little bit more yourself and a little bit more sensual without having to really go all the way. And lastly, I think when we're talking about sensuality and luxury in your everyday life, I think it goes beyond clothes. And I think it's about a mindset. And so these are some things that I would bring into your life to fill it with this sensuality and luxury that aren't necessarily expensive. So it could be something like candles, having candles all around your room, in your bathroom, in your living room, and just lighting them when it gets dark to add that touch of luxury, especially if they're scented candles, to give you that kind of literal sensual experience. Going to the beach. Something about the beach feels very luxurious to me, especially in summer. But laying on the sand, being in the sea, being in a swimsuit, such an easy way to kind of connect with nature and feel a little bit wild. Make cocktails at home or mocktails if you don't drink alcohol or can't drink alcohol right now for whatever reason. Spending the time with making the drinks, taking a little extra time over it, not rushing through that process can make it feel like a luxury experience. And I think the same goes for cooking and baking too. I think spending the time cooking things from scratch and giving yourself that time in the day can feel very luxurious. Eating foods that feel more pleasurable rather than just, getting them down and eating for eating's sake. That can be something in your everyday life which just enacts that fire style route a little bit. Lush, thick blankets, I think, are amazing for this. Getting snuggled under your blanket with all your candles lit in the living room. Yes, it's cozy, but again, it's not a scratchy old blanket, which, may work in someone else's home if you have earth style route, for instance, and you want to feel more like natural, but that's not really the vibe of someone who has the fire style route. So having like a lush, thick blanket, which is soft to the touch, I think is a great way to bring that into your everyday life. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you learned something about the fire style route. And I also think a lot of these tips apply even if you're not, a fire girly. I have flower and a lot of these things apply to me, and I also think a lot of these things would apply if you had mountain as well. So these tips are definitely not exclusive just to the fire style route. If you would like to support this channel, please consider becoming a member. We have some amazing extra resources on there, including subscriber style clinics, TV and film deep dives, style edits, and there is a YouTube version which is video only, which is a little bit cheaper, and then we have Substack, which includes lots of members only newsletters. So make sure to check out both and see which one works for you. But I would be so grateful if you would consider supporting me, because I have become much more content based in the last year, and the money that we get from my memberships is what allows this to continue, and I'd be really grateful if you would consider it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.